Check out FlipsideGaming.com for all your gaming needs. Use the promo code HEROES to save 10% on all orders over $10. Right now, Ultimate Masters booster boxes are available at the fantastic price of $270 when you use this promo code, and shipping is free on this and any order over $100. Check out the description below for more details. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to the second day of official Ultimate Masters previews. I don't want to waste a lot of time because we have a lot of cards to recap that came out over the last 24 hours. Quickly before we get started though, just a fast reminder, if you check out the description below, you'll find a few ways to help support us, one of which is our Patreon page. You're also going to find links down there for products on Amazon, including Ultimate Masters and finally Flipside Gaming. Still offering a promo code for our viewers. Hopefully you can save some cash while you support us. And they still have Ultimate Masters booster boxes in stock. And with the promo code, they're only $270, which is a good price if you're still looking. But as always, thank you not only to the folks that look at those links, but to all of the viewers. Y'all make the channel what it is. I appreciate y'all, but let's get into it. We'll go in color pie order again today, and just like yesterday, if you're curious about the source of these preview cards, just check out the description below. I'll list them all there. Containment Priest, really strong reprint here. Happy to see this one in the set. Now, the original version, Commander 2014, this will run you about $21 or so currently. It sees extensive vintage and legacy play. And this is the first time it will be in foil since the only other printing was Commander 2014. Daybreak Coronet. This card's had a couple printings before this. One was Future Sight and one was Modern Masters 2015. We're getting the Modern Masters 2015 art here. This card does see play in Modern Boggles decks, and it's also a really cool commander card if you're going to throw a lot of auras on things. But it's not a cheap card either. It's another real strong rare here financially. The Modern Masters or the Future Sight version, they're going to run you around $11, $12 typically. That Future Sight foil is close to $32. The Modern Masters foil around $13, $14. Heliod's Pilgrim. I don't have a lot to say about this one. It's from Magic 2015. It's not a very expensive card. You can get foils for under $1 as a matter of fact. It's an interesting reprint though because it does see play in Pauper Boggles. Hyena Umbra. Now there's a few cards that you're going to see today that actually came to us as Japanese language previews. Whenever that happens, you'll see the preview card, and on the left side, you're going to see a recent printing for translation purposes. Now, this card in particular is not an expensive card either. Usually you can find these for $1 or $2 from Rise of the Eldrazi. This was reprinted in Plain Chase 2012. Those are maybe a little more expensive because they're harder to find. The Rise of the Eldrazi, which is the only foil, that will run you about $7, $8, so that's not necessarily a cheap foil considering this card is a common. And it does see play in Modern Boggles and also Pauper Mono White Heroic builds. Resurrection. This is one of the original Magic cards, Alpha Beta Unlimited. We're getting it with new art, and it's been bumped down from uncommon to common, so you know what that means. First time in Pauper. That's kind of awesome. Now, the original version obviously can be a little pricey being Alpha, but this has been reprinted many times, and you can get some of those reprints like Revised, for example, or the time-shifted one from Time Spiral for just a few cents. It's not a real expensive card. It is kind of interesting, though, to think about what implications it could have for Pauper, but this is still a good cube and commander card, definitely. Revelark is back again. Now, financially, this is kind of a disappointing rare. You can pick these things up all day long for $2, $3 typically. The Morning Tide version, which was the original, maybe slightly more than $3, but that foil can be expensive, around $28, $29. Modern Masters, you can grab that foil for about $16, $17 typically. A little less pricey, but it's kind of nice that we're getting another crack at this in foil. This does see play in not only a lot of Commander builds, I see this all the time in Commander, but also Modern Selesnya Accord decks. Usually there's like one of in the main. Rhea Dawnbringer, another rare that's not really thrilling financially. We are getting the more recent art here, which I am a fan of. We've seen this in 10th edition as well as Dual Decks Divine versus Demonic. But aside from that, there's not a lot to say about the card. You can grab a copy of this. It's been reprinted a number of times now for $1 or $2. The only expensive version of the card is the Invasion foil, which is a little over $30 right now, but you can also get a 10th edition foil for $7, which is much more affordable if you wanted to do that. This does see play in Commander. You'll find this a lot of times in Angel Tribal or Reanimation strategies. Sigil of the New Dawn, or as I like to refer to as Sigil of the New Art, and that's really all I have to say about it. It's got some pretty new art. It also did get taken down from rare to uncommon, fortunately for us, because this is not an expensive card. Originally, it's from Onslaught. It's never been reprinted, but you can grab even foils of the Onslaught version for just a little over $1. Sublime Archangel. This came down from Mythic to Rare, and this actually has some nice price behind it. The original version for Magic 2013 will run you $7 or $8. Foils close to $24, and this is the first time it's being reprinted. It's a good commander card. You'll find this many times in Angel Tribal builds, or if you really want to push Exalted, good cube card too. Tethmos High Priest. Not a lot to say about this other than the fact that it was uncommon. It's now a common, which means it is new to Pauper. From Journey into Nyx, has never been reprinted, but again, even foils will only cost you pennies. Circular Logic. This is a real nice reprint for Pauper players who want to play Inside Out combo, because this is not a cheap card. Torment will cost you about $4 or $5, foils around $10. There was a Friday Night Magic promo as well that will cost you usually around $7 to $8. And that's it. Other than that, this card has not been reprinted. And this is legal in Pauper because Vintage Masters on Magic Online did print this as a common, but in paper it has never been printed as a common. Dig Through Time. Now, of course, this is banned in Modern as well as Legacy. It's restricted in Vintage, but it sees extensive Vintage play. Now, unfortunately, because of all the bannings, it's a rare that doesn't have a whole lot of value behind it. It's from Khans of Tarkir. You can grab those for $1 or $2, foils for $7, $8, but this is the first time it has been reprinted. Disrupting Shoal. Never been reprinted before, from Betrayers of Kamigawa. That copy will cost you $11, $12. Foils, forget about it, closer to $38. This does see Legacy play out of sideboards of Manaless Dredge. Foil, you can now get another chance to get foil in foil, and it's got brand new art, and maybe most importantly, it's gone down from uncommon to common, so welcome to Pauper. And I do think this card will have some implications in Pauper. It's actually very powerful. Now, it doesn't see a lot of play right now, but since it's being introduced into that format, I would watch this one in the future. Currently, the older versions aren't that expensive. Prophecy or the dual deck Elspeth versus Tezzeret, you can get those for around $1, although the Prophecy foil is around $26, $27. That's not cheap. Frantic Search gets the new art treatment, as you can see here. It's never been reprinted before. Originally from Urza's Destiny, that copy will run you $1 or $2. The foil, though, more expensive, $34, $35. So it's kind of nice to get another crack at this in foil. Nice card to add to your cube if you want to add some Storm elements, and it does see play in Vintage Storm as well. Laboratory Maniac. Here's a card that used to see a little more Vintage play than it does now. It kind of got pushed out of that meta, but there was a lot of fun decks back in the day with this card. It has come down from rare to uncommon. This is originally from Innistrad. Those copies will run you $8, $9, foils around $17. This does see play in Modern ad nauseum decks, usually like a one-of in the main. Living Lore goes from rare to uncommon. Other than that, I don't have a lot to say about it. This is from Dragons of Tarkir. First time it's getting reprinted, but not very expensive at all. Magus of the Bazaar. Financially, another underwhelming rare here. And it's an interesting card. It's actually kind of fun to play in cubes or commander, especially if you're playing with Marisol the Pretender or Madrotha the Gravetide. But it's just not an expensive card. It's from Planar Chaos. It's never been reprinted, but you can grab those copies for about $1, foils for about $7. Telran Sky Summoner. Unfortunately, another low-value rare here for this set. You can grab copies of this all day for under $1. It's been reprinted a few times, and it was an intro pack rare for Magic 2013. That really kills the value. A lot of those were printed. It's a good cube and commander card, though. Apprentice Necromancer's coming at us with the Commander 2017 art, which actually looks pretty nice. And this is the first time you can get that art in foil. I kind of like that because I do think it will be striking as a foil. Other than that, though, it's not a very expensive card. It is being busted down from rare to uncommon, so that's good. But you can find Urza's Destiny versions usually for about $1.50. Foils around $16, $17, a little more expensive. Commander 2017 copies you can find for under $1. But again, another interesting cube and commander card here. Bridge from Below coming at us with the Modern Masters art here. This has been a pretty hot card recently thanks to the Modern Bridgevine decks. Now, you could argue over the last few months, the classic Dredge deck has pushed back a little bit thanks to Creeping Chill entering the format. However, Bridgevine still does well, still puts up good results, and a lot of people are still looking for this card to play in that deck. Also, this sees play in Vintage and Legacy Dredge decks. Not a cheap card either. The Future Sight version will run you close to $23, the Modern Masters version close to $20, a foil from Future Sight around $78, and a foil from Modern Masters close to $23. Very welcome inclusion here. Chainer's Edict. Here's another one of those cards that is Pauper legal, even though all the paper copies are uncommon, including this one. It would have been nice if this came out as a common so they could kind of correct that a little bit. But on Magic Online, this was a common in Vintage Masters, so it is Pauper legal, and it's a great Pauper card. It's a great reprint, as a matter of fact. The art you're getting here is from the Vault 20 and also the Vintage Masters version of the card on Magic Online. And if you wanted to grab a Torment version, it's going to cost you about $7. Foils around $25, $26. There was a Friday Night Magic promo. Those will run you around $12. And the From the Vault 20 will still run you about $7 or $8 or so. What's kind of nice is this is the first time you can get this art without that From the Vault foiling, which a lot of people don't like. So as I mentioned, this sees extensive Pauper play and control builds and other decks as well. Slum Reaper, and this is another card that's new to Pauper as it comes down from uncommon to common. It's been printed a lot recently though in Battle Bond as well as in a guild kit. Doesn't really hold a lot of value. Even the foils are pretty cheap. Spoils of the Vault gets some new art. This is originally from Mirrodin and will cost you about $2 or $3 there. The foils around $10. Sees play in the modern Ad Nauseam deck. Desperate Ritual. This was a common originally in Champions of Kamigawa. In Modern Masters, it got bumped up to uncommon. That's where it's staying right now. It gets the art from Dual Decks Minds versus Might, which is actually pretty sweet because we've never been able to get this particular art in foil before now. When it comes to value of the card, it's not amazing necessarily, but not bad for an uncommon. Champions of Kamigawa, Modern Masters versions, they'll run you close to $3. Dual Deck Mind versus Might, a little over $3 even, because some people do like this particular art, and it's not as easy to find that version of the card, but it does see play. Modern Storm decks, Runaway Red decks, Griselbrand, you'll find it there. In Legacy, you'll find it in some Storm builds, so very good card overall. Fiery Temper, this shares the art with a recent printing, Shadows over Innistrad. And this isn't a very expensive common. I mean, you can pick up copies for just a few cents. Even foils will only cost you $2 to $4 typically. But I'm kind of glad they reprinted this because it's getting a lot of attention right now in Modern and those Arc-like Phoenix decks, as well as some other builds. And I feel like if they didn't reprint this for a long time, maybe the price would start to creep up. So it's good to cut this off at the pass. Firewing Phoenix, not a lot to say about this one. It is an uncommon as opposed to a rare, which it was when it was printed in Magic 2013, so that's good. Magic 2013 was the only printing, but again, you can get foils of this for just pennies. Lava Spike. Okay, I got good news and I got bad news. What do you want first? All right, I'll give you the good news. It's got some new art. It's interesting, maybe a little on the nose with a literal lava spike on it. The bad news is it does go up from common to uncommon. Oh well, but still, it's a very good common or uncommon either way in the set because there's a lot of value behind this. Champions of Kamigawa versions are going to cost you $4 or $5, foils $12 to $13, Modern Masters $5 or $6, foils $7 or $8. So the price feels good for an uncommon in this set, and it sees a lot of play. Modern Burn, Runaway Red, the Arc-Light Phoenix builds like I mentioned earlier, Legacy Burn, Pauper Burn, all places where you'll see this card. Magma, well, it goes from rare to uncommon. Yeah, that's all I got to say about that one. It's not very expensive. You can get copies of this even in foil very cheap, under $1. Become Immense is here, stays at uncommon. This isn't an expensive card, but it does see a lot of play. Cards of Tarkir, you can grab these for just pennies. A foil might cost you about $3 or $4 though, because of the play it does see. In Modern, you'll find this in the Jund Shadow Zoo decks, and also in Modern, Infect, as well as Legacy Infect. Devoted Druid, another card that gets new art but goes up from common to uncommon. That seems to be a trend now. But this card is actually pretty awesome to have included even as an uncommon because there's some nice value behind this. This is from Shadowmoor. Shadowmoor copies will run you $5, $6. Very expensive for a common. Foils will run you close to $50, even a little over $50 sometimes. This combos with Vizier of Remedies, which is why it's so popular. Modern Counter Companies decks will run this, Devoted Evolution, some of the elf builds even, and more. Fauna Shaman. Real nice reprint here from Magic 2011. It's never been reprinted. Those copies will run you $14, $15, foils $29, $30. You can find this in Modern Naya Monsters. It's also a great cube and commander card. Golgari Grave Troll. Alright, now this one gets some new art as well. I actually really like the art on this. And it is banned in Modern, so keep that in mind. But it does see Vintage and Legacy play in Dredge decks. And because of that, there's a little value behind it. Maybe not as much value as you'd like to see in the set, but it does have an expensive foil. Ravnica cards will cost you about $3 or $4, but the foil is around $36. There was a dual deck Is It versus Golgari reprint. Even that one will cost you more than $3. So because of the foil, I'll give this one a pass. Hero of Lena Tower from Born of the Gods. Now this does come down from rare to uncommon. The Born of the Gods version you can pick up for pennies. You can pick up the foil for pennies. Not a lot to say about this one. Miming Slime. Another one that comes down, this time uncommon to common, which means welcome to Pauper. Again, not a lot of value behind this card though. You can get the regular Gatecrash version or foil for just pennies. Nourishing Shoal. This is a pretty nice rare actually. This sees play in Modern Griselbrand decks. It was only in Betrayers of Kamigawa. Those copies will cost you $7 or $8. Foils around $15, $16. Pattern of Rebirth with some brand new art. This card has never been reprinted. It's from Urza's Destiny. Not super expensive. You can grab one of these for $4 or $5. The foil, however, is about $85 right now, which is insane. You might ask yourself, why is the foil $85? Well, First off, older foils were harder to get, but secondly, it all has to do with Commander. There's some interesting combos you can do with this card, and actually, the Command Zone, when they premiered this card today, did an awesome video talking about those combos if you want to check it out. But real quick, abbreviated version. Cards like Boonweaver Giant, Ashnod's Altar, Fiend Hunter, Revelar, Karmic Guide, they can lead to a loop where you basically just get to take all your creatures out of your deck, put them into play. If you have some good enters the battlefield effects like Acidic Slime or something like that, it can really lead to a pretty big turn if you can work it out. So that's why this is actually an interesting inclusion. I wish it had a little more value being a rare, but it is kind of nice to get another opportunity to get this in foil. And the new art is by Therese Nielsen. It looks really nice. Spider Umbra, pretty good common here, more because of the foil than anything. It sees play in Modern Boggles, so the Rise of the Eldrazi foil, which is the only foil available, is about $6 or $7. Now the regular copies of the card are under $1 for Rise of the Eldrazi. Arch Enemy, maybe a little over $1, but that's it. Travel Preparations. This moves from common to uncommon in the set. I did see this last summer in some Selesnya Pauper builds, but I don't really see it all that often anymore, but it does have potential there for sure. Not an expensive card. It's from Innistrad, and you can get these copies for pennies and foils for just a little more. Woodfall Primus. Good cube card, and it also sees modern play, usually as a one-of in Titan Breach decks. It's got some nice value behind it, considering it's a rare here. Shadowmoor or Modern Masters, those are the two previous copies of the card. They'll run you $8, $9. Shadowmoor foils around $20, $21. Modern Masters foils $14, $15. So it feels like a good inclusion. Angel of Despair. And she's in despair because she moved down from rare to uncommon. But I'm glad that they moved her down to uncommon because she doesn't have a lot of value. Whether you're buying the Guild Pact or the Commander or Commander Anthology version, you can get the card for $2 to $3. Foils, though, are not cheap. The Guild Pack foils, the only place to get a foil, that's going to cost $25, $26. For that foil price alone, I'm glad they included her here. And she sees playing Commander, definitely in Angel Tribal builds, among other places. Sovereigns of Lost Alara. This plays really well with the card we saw yesterday, Eldrazi Conscription, so that could be kind of fun if you get lucky in a draft or in sealed. Also, those are great combos to play in Commander, and that's why this card has a little value behind it. Alara Reborn is the only printing of this, and it costs about $4 or $5, foils around $12 or $13. Dimir Guildmage. This is interesting because it gets the bump down from uncommon to common. Welcome to Pauper, Dimir Guildmage. This card might have some real implications in the Pauper meta, as a matter of fact. Now, it's not an expensive card. You can find copies of this all day long for just pennies, including foils. So it's nothing crazy there, but it's interesting that it did get the bump down. It's something to pay attention to. Of course, it had to be here. We've been talking about Boggle decks today. Slippery Boggle is actually in the set with some brand new art. It also gets the bump up from common to uncommon notice, which isn't too surprising because Boggles at common in limited games could be pretty oppressive if you have a lot of good enchantment auras, and there does appear to be a number of really good ones here. This does see play, of course, in Modern and Pauper Boggles, and even though it was a common and Eventide, it was not cheap. $2 to $3 for the card there. Foils about $14. First time it's being reprinted. Flagstones of Trokair. I really thought we'd see this one in the set, and here it is. Time Spiral, never been reprinted after that, and it will cost you about $19 or $20. Foils over $60 at this point. This does sometimes see play in Legacy, Death, and Taxes, and in Modern in those mono-white Martyr decks. Thespian Stage. Of course, this card's notorious for comboing with Dark Depths, which is in limited, so again, if you get really lucky, you might have a chance to do that. But of course, this card is popular because people do that in Legacy. This is good in those Dark Depths builds, Eldrazi Post decks, lands, and more in that format. And when it comes to value, it's not cheap. Gatecrash about $3 or $4, maybe not one of the higher priced rares in the set, but not bad. Foils will run you $17, $18, usually closer to $18 nowadays. So if nothing else, you get another crack at a cheaper foil now. Wow, that was a lot of cards. Okay, so tomorrow we're going to see the rest of the set, which means we're going to begin our full set review. I'm just going to jump in and get started tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. But until next time, hey, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible through the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page, as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.